What's the kind of key message? What's just stop all of this policy entirely?
Yeah.
Transition to plantation timber now, not in 2030.
Mm.
Now, because Dan Andrews' Labor government has said that there will be an end of native forest logging by 2030, but on the ground, both conservationists and Indigenous people are saying stop it now and just transition to plantation timber where there is more than enough supply for all the paper products we want to need, and we can stop logging our native forests and keep it for our threatened species and for all the other myriad of values that it has.
What we have here is the only public information you'll ever see out there, and that is the timber harvesting safety zone. So they can put this up as soon as 24 hours before cutting it, or as long as a few weeks before cutting it. And it's just a single A3 piece of paper on a random tree somewhere in the bush, and that's the only way the community has any idea what's going to happen to their country and to their ecosystem.
With no consultation to the traditional owners either.
No.
In the middle of like a forest, they just put
that there and expect that everyone's fully well informed.
That is staggering.
You can see what the forest was like over there, the understory and the tree ferns coming up and all the medicine plants, diversity and flora.
That's the word. It's annihilated. That's what they don't want anyone to see. Well, if you would like to think that if people in Melbourne and really understood or saw this, I mean, what's so frustrating is, come on, with everything else going on in the world, why is this still happening here in Australia? We should know better. We do know better.
Yeah, and Victoria is meant to be a progressive state.
It's meant to be progressive. Why are little communities having to be confronted with this insanity? And it's a huge area. How big in total, approximately?
It's like, I think say 4 MCGs. It's like a couple of kilometres long in one stretch.
Yeah. 4 MCGs.
Might be more.
I would say, yeah, at least. It is huge. Yeah, it runs all the way down the mountainside.
Yeah, all the way to the community that lives here.
And just smashing to the traditional owners, I mean, in your face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Using the words, the talk but not the walk.
Yeah. That's right.
And so it was this, what we're going into now,
Yeah.
was what it was.
Beautiful, mixed age, multi-strata forest.
Unbelievable.
So this is the area of the Vic Forest called Cat's Corner, and this is where we started. This road along here is used by a lot of locals. This is an area that people ride and walk and use recreationally. And when this came up for harvesting, for cutting last year, it was during COVID. And
During the
lockdown, and we went, no, this is too close to our homes, and this is too close to our hearts. You can't have this.
I literally got up like 3 a.m. from my childhood home, my bed, and walked. Took me half an hour to walk down to a tree just about 100 meters around the corner there that was next to one of the logging machines before harvesting had started. And then my friends had set up a tree sit, and I got up from that half an hour walk from bed and then climbed up to the tree sit and stayed there for 3 days.
You got footage of that? You got footage from that?
Yeah.
I sent you that.
Yeah.
Saw that.
Yeah. And then that was the start of, it was almost 8 weeks.
6.
6 weeks. Sorry. 6 weeks of protesting.
So normally they would cut, as you saw up at Smythe Creek, they would cut right up to the edge of the road, and they started doing that here. we filed a court case in June last year on the basis that that vegetation buffer should be protected, and also the threatened tree G-bung, which is in the southern section of the coop a bit further along, should also be protected. And that's when we got injunctions to protect this. They'd already started cutting some of it, as you can see. And they shouldn't actually have slush in these buffers.
No. This
So-
this is a spot that I actually surveyed with Andy, sooty owl.
Yeah.
This exact spot we're standing had a sooty owl living here, and it was submitted to the department, and they still cut it down anyway.
So machines have obviously been in quite recently because they're going to burn this soon. So they've made the piles for burning. So while we were waiting for the court case to be filed, we had actions happening to stop the logging. And then once the court case was filed, and we knew that this area along here, the rest of along the road was protected, and that the tree G-bungs were protected, then they continued to cut trees. And this is what it looks like.
It's just shocking to think that there's still that need to have people on the ground putting themselves at risk because there's no government intervention.
You'd have to see it to believe it. It's staggering. Filming it doesn't do it justice. You'd have to see it. I've seen a lot of stuff around Australia, but like, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
And you can see a lot of these trees that are left are pretty stressed.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah, they're not healthy. Whenever you see them, it's like they know something terrible has happened all around them.
well, they do, and they also, I mean, they won't survive. Most of them won't survive the burn either, as we saw up at the other area. But yeah, I mean, there's all. So they do leave one tree here and there, and it's meant to be their improved harvesting
Yeah.
system.
And think if you're like a leadbeater's possum and these are your habitat trees, like firstly, like none of these trees look old enough to have hollows, so to provide their homes. And also, like, there's no way, there's no connectivity. Like, they wouldn't be able to move around any logging coop because they can't, not going to go down onto ground, so they have to be moving through the branches.
Through the branches, you can't do it.
You can't do it. Yeah.
And if they get isolated by leaving the one tree, then they get predated while they're travelling on land, on the ground.
If it's their den, if it's one of their den trees, they do. How they've terraced it, like all the angles, nothing's going to grow back
It
on those.
takes 1,000 years of lyrebird scratching to bring it back.
Yeah.
Trust in them.
Well, we did save the southern section, which is just a little bit further along, so we can drive down and just show you that, and show you a tree G-bung, which is the basis of our court case.
So this is a tree G-bung, or Personia arborea, and they're a mid-story species. Yeah, and they don't actually reproduce until about 110, 120 years old. And this one has been saved through a interlocutory injunction for the Wolverton Environment Court case against Vic Forests in the Supreme Court. And it's really a beautiful specimen of the tree G-bung. You can see like the very distinctive leaves, like paddle shaped, and they have these like big green droops as well that they produce. And yeah, like we're really happy that some of the tree G-bungs in this particular coop, Pat's Corner, have been saved from the bulldozers and have got a bit of a protective buffer. So temporary protective buffer until we get the outcome of our court case. But for now, thanks to a lot of community work and coming together, this tree can stand in peace.
So the idea was to destroy all of this.
They
Yeah.
just do. They just flatten it. Where
Right.
you've just come from, this looked like this.
Wow.
And also this tree here, which is, they say when it's 10 centimeters in diameter, it's mature, and it's considered that it's over 100 years old. So a tree this size is somewhere probably between 300 and 350 years old. So they're long-lived understory trees that don't grow more than, yeah, they grow very slowly, and 6-7 meters is a mature tree, and it can take hundreds of years for it to grow to that. Yeah, I know. So this one could be,
pre-colonial.
It's definitely pre-colonial.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is. So